how do we present information? The measures being collected are important, but what is done with the measures is just as important. For information to be useful, it has to be timely, accessible, easy to absorb and digest and presented so that it correctly conveys the degree of uncertainty associated with the information. Visual displays with graphics can help stakeholders absorb and make sense of information. One of the visual displays is dashboards. Can you explain dashboards to us, Mr. Izgi?
Sure, Mr. Tekir. A common way of showing large quantities of information on matrix is a dashboard. Dashboards generally collect information electronically and generate charts that depict status. Often, dashboards offer high-level summaries of data and allow drill-down analysis into contributing data. The figure on the screen provides an example of a dashboard. Dashboards often include information displayed as spotlight charts, also known as RAG charts, where RAG is an abbreviation for red, amber, green, bar charts, pie charts, and control charts. A text explanation can be used for any measures that are outside the established thresholds.
Okay, another type of visual displays are information radiators.
Yes, information radiators, also known as big visible charts, abbreviated as BVCs, are visible physical displays that provide information to the rest of the organization, enabling timely knowledge sharing. They are posted in a place where people can see the information easily, rather than having information in a scheduling or reporting tool. BVCs should be easy to update, and they should be updated frequently. They are often low-tech and high-touch in that they are manually maintained rather than electronically generated. The figure on the screen shows an information radiator associated with work completed, work remaining, and risks.
Visual displays can also be visual controls.
In lean environments, information radiators are known as visual controls. Visual controls illustrate processes to easily compare actual against expected performance. Visual controls show a process using visual cues. Visual controls can be present for all levels of information, from business value delivered to tasks that have started. They should be highly visible for anyone to see.
Can you give some examples?
An example is task boards. A task board is a visual representation of the planned work that allows everyone to see the status of the tasks. A task board can show work that is ready to be started to do, work in progress, and work that is completed, as we see on the screen. A task board allows anyone to see at a glance the status of a particular task or the number of tasks in each stage of the work. Different color sticky notes can represent different types of work, and dots can be used to show how many days a task has been in its current position. Flow-based projects, such as those that use Kanban boards, can use these charts to limit the amount of work in progress. If a column is approaching the work in progress limit, project team members can swarm around the current work to help those working on tasks that are slowing the flow. Another example is burn charts. Burn charts, such as a burn up or burn down charts, can show project team velocity. Velocity measures the productivity rate at which the deliverables are produced, validated, and accepted with a predefined interval. A burn-up chart can track the amount of work done compared to the expected work that should be done, as shown on the screen. A burn-down chart can show the number of story points remaining or the amount of risk exposure that has been reduced. There are other types of charts. Visual charts can also include information such as an impediment list that shows a description of the impediment to getting work done, the severity, and the actions being taken to resolve the impediment.
Project measures help the project team meet the project objectives. However, there are some pitfalls associated with measurement. Awareness of these pitfalls can help minimize their negative effects. What are some of the pitfalls?
There are many of them. For example, fourth round effect, vanity metric, demoralization, misusing the metrics, confirmation bias, correlation versus causation.
Firstly, what is the Hawthorne effect?
The Hawthorne effect states that the very act of measuring something influences behavior. Therefore, take care in establishing metrics. For example, measuring only a project team's output of deliverables can encourage the project team to focus on creating a large volume of deliverables rather than focusing on deliverables that would provide higher customer satisfaction.
Okay, what is the vanity metric?
A vanity metric is a measure that shows data but does not provide useful information for making decisions. Measuring page views of a website is not as useful as measuring the number of new viewers.
What is the demoralization?
If measures and goals are set that are not achievable, project team morale may fall as they continuously fail to meet targets. Setting stretch goals and aspirational measures is acceptable, but people also want to see their hard work recognized. Unrealistic or unachievable goals can be counterproductive.
What is the misusing the metrics?
Regardless of the metrics used to measure performance, there is the opportunity for people to distort the measurements or focus on the wrong thing. Examples include focusing on less important metrics rather than the metrics that matter most, focusing on performing well for the short-term measures at the expense of long-term metrics, and working on out-of-sequence activities that are easy to accomplish in order to improve performance indicators.
What is the confirmation bias?
As human beings, we tend to look for and see information that support our pre-existing point of view. This can lead us to false interpretations of data.
What is the correlation versus causation?
A common mistake in interpreting measurement data is confusing the correlation of two variables with the idea that one causes the other. For example, seeing projects that are behind schedule and over budget might infer that projects that are over budget cause schedule issues. This is not true. Nor is it true that projects that are behind schedule cause budget overruns. Instead, there are likely other coordinating factors that are not being considered, such as skill in estimating, the ability to manage change, and actively managing risk.
Being aware of the pitfalls associated with metrics can help with establishing effective metrics, in addition to being vigilant regarding the dangers associated with inappropriate measures.
Let's come to a new topic, troubleshooting performance. Part of measurement is having agreed to plans for measures that are outside the threshold ranges. Thresholds can be established for a variety of metrics such as schedule, budget, velocity, and other project-specific measures. The degree of variance will depend on stakeholder risk tolerances.
The figure on the screen shows an example of a budget threshold set of 10% orange and -20% green of the predicted spend rate. The blue line is tracking the actual spend, and in January it exceeded the +10% upper tolerance that will trigger the exception plan.
Ideally, project teams should not wait until a threshold has been breached before taking action. If a breach can be forecasted via a trend or new information, the project team can be proactive in addressing the expected variance. An exception plan is an agreed upon set of actions to be taken if a threshold is crossed or forecast. Exception plans do not have to be formal. They can be as simple as calling a stakeholder meeting to discuss the matter. The importance of the exception plan is to discuss the issue and develop a plan for what needs to be done. Then follow through to make sure the plan is implemented and determine if the plan is working.
Okay, our last topic is growing and improving.
Yes, the intent in measuring and displaying data is to learn and improve. To optimize project performance and efficiency, only measure and report information that will allow the project team to learn, facilitate a decision, improve some aspects of the product or project performance, help avoid an issue, and prevent performance deterioration. Applied appropriately, measurements facilitate the project team's ability to generate business value and achieve the project objectives and performance targets.